Hey Amazon sellers, what is the right way to price your product when selling on Amazon? How should you set your min and max prices for your listings? This is one of the most important skills that you're going to learn, setting accurate min prices, because this will determine your actual product. Too many people price their products incorrectly, which causes them to lose money for every additional unit. I talked to 11 experienced full-time Amazon sellers, and I know exactly what their pricing strategy and their recommendations are. My name is Samuel, and let's get to business. How do you set your prices? What are you looking at for pricing?
Number one, the product themselves. If we think about it this way, we have some products whereby we are going to be the only competitor in the marketplace, and we're looking, can we increase the pricing of that? Think about it this way, products that are at our maximum. So we're looking at those saying, can we optimize for more cash profits there? We're also going to be looking at those products whereby they're at the minimum, saying, what's going on with the marketplace, what's happening, and particularly around those products who are the minimum, we're not only looking at the pricing, and we might do some things where we sit slightly above the buy box or just trying to manage our sell-through rate on the products, but we're also trying to learn why did the product maybe go to the minimum in the first place. And this is about making good purchases, good buying. Now, a lot of the time, especially in the online arbitrage model, sometimes we'll see it whereby we have bought products and the pricing's tanked. And we're like, man, this is like annoying. So what do? We, number one, analyze the product, but we have to make a decision. Do we want to hold it and wait it out? Or do we want to get in and get the product sold ASAP, because we can probably invest it in something else? And one of the key considerations we'll ever look at that is by looking at how much stock is on the listing. For example, if the listing is selling 50 units per month and the total stock on the listing is more than 3 months worth of stock, we'll probably get out pretty quickly. But if it's less than 3 months worth of stock, so under 150 units, we'll probably wait it out. That's the kind of consideration. And when we talk about our repricing will reflect that. So if we're going to wait it out, I'd probably sit there and just hover above the buy box to try and maybe get a few sales, and especially with the new, should we say, low inventory fees, this is going to be important to keep your stock turning, because you don't want to sit there too long, but also as well, we're getting some products selling, but maybe we can get the price a bit higher. But if we're going to get out, my God, I'll be matching the buy box, even maybe getting underneath it, just to get out as quick as possible, because depending on how much stock is going to be a key consideration of how quick we need to move.
So when I'm looking at Keepa, a lot of the times I'm gonna list the item at the highest price Keepa shows. So
that's for how long?
A year, and that's just for listing. So I feel like sometimes a lot of people will list at the current buy box price, which is just not a great idea. I mean, you guys know all about repricing. If you have a good repricer like you guys do, it just bounces up and down, up and down. So I'm a big fan of setting like a min and a max. So for my min, I'll probably start at 30% ROI, and I'll list the max price at probably the highest price of the year and just let it bounce up and down. That's what's worked for me in the past. You'd be really surprised. There's some stuff in Q4 where it said like the most it's ever sold for is 55 and like the buy box is 20 right now, and I get 55. So you just want to have that option and a repricer that you can go up and down. There's nothing wrong with listing it high, because a lot of people list it at the current buy box, and if that's all you could go, you're doing yourself a disservice. Just to clarify, when sourcing though, I'm not looking at the max price. Like I'm looking at the average buy box price, just to make sure, because like it's not guaranteed I'm gonna get the higher price.
30 days? 60 days, 90 days? You look at the average buy box price?
Like between 90 and 30, especially if I'm doing a test buy. It's I'm always looking at best case, worst case. The last 30 days, it's sold at 25, 90 is like 30, probably falls somewhere between 25 to 30. If it's break even at 22, right? Like I'm good. If I'm getting 30% at 25, that works for me, and I'll try to get the higher price. But I just like to know like worst case, best case.
I usually set a min of at least 5% ROI, and then a maximum of a great ROI that's maybe 50 to 100% higher in price. Most of my catalog just follows a pretty simple rule. There'll be a min and a max, and we'll just be floating and going up and going down between that min and max price band. And then I'll look at some additional analytics, like if something has been sitting too long, sometimes I have no choice but to reprice it at a loss and just move the products. I will also look at velocity. If I'm selling a product too fast, I'll actually have a higher minimum ROI threshold. So there are a few things that play into it, but in general, I want to always be moving products and getting whatever ROI I can. Even though my target may be 20, 30% ROI, I will accept as low as 5% to always be recycling cash in my business.
Of course, you need a repricer, because if you will have one SKU, maybe you don't need it. You just can go and see the price, you can match the price. But once you have 10 SKUs, it's becoming a headache. So you need a repricer that can do that job for you, and it can increase or decrease your price and match the buy box, which is where all the sales, majority of sale happens. If your price is not matching the buy box, you will not get this, almost impossible to get the sale.
What you would check what the buy box price is, then you would set your price as competitive.
You can set your minimum and your maximum.
Minimum max.
So if the buy box, let's say, is $10, you're willing to go down to $8 as long as it match your minimum margin, and then you can go up to $12. So if the price goes up, so you put that minimum and maximum according to your cost.
When do you start changing your prices?
It depends on how much inventory do you have and how's your cash flow. Because if your cash flow is fine, you leave it the way it is. It doesn't matter if the price is too down, you just wait. But if your cash flow is struggle and you wanna rotate the inventory, I would recommend at least to do once a week or twice a week to see if somebody is lower than your minimum price, but you need to sell out the product and you match that price, or you see someone selling too high and you can also increase the price. But usually you always put that high to the maximum, so you never bother about that. But lower price, sometimes it happens, somebody is selling lower than you are and your inventory is not rotating. So it's your decision to match that lower price or you just wait.
You can check Keepa price history. For books, I'm not gonna do that because we're pricing like thousands of books. So generally with books, what I do is we look at what's the buy box price and what are the FBA offers saying. So we only compare books against other FBA books. And generally for all categories, like FBA is important. We're always going to compete against FBA competition. If there's 3 MF offers, merchant fulfilled at $10, and then 3 FBA offers at 20, we're gonna compare against those. So generally I go after buy box price. Unless it's a really fast moving book or item, then I will price at FBA slot 2, 3, or 4. That way I can get a little bit more profit and let those other FBA offers, just sell out.
So if nobody else is on the listing, I'll look at Keepa, see what it sells for, see what it was selling fast for. Like maybe if it sells maybe 1 or 2 a month, like for a higher price point, we might try to pick that price point or go higher. Say a game was selling consistently for $100, nobody's on the listing, I might try 150, and then if it doesn't work out, I can lower it. You can always lower your price later. You can't raise your price after it sells. So we always try to pick the highest price point if the game is rare and not many people can find it brand new. And that's where we can, make our markup, and then we always lower the price if it doesn't sell.
The market really decides. It's whatever the competition is at is typically what you'll be able to sell the product at, because if the product's listed at $14.99, you're at $16.99, chances of you winning the buy box, slim to none. It's not to say people will buy, but it's just way, way less.
They might not buy in larger volumes.
Yes.
Like you're not gonna get
a large quantity of orders.
quantity.
Yeah. You might get 1 or 2 a day, but other than that, the volume's not there.
What are you looking at for a product when you're looking at Keepa?
I'm looking for somewhat consistent price point,
Okay.
where there's not a bunch of peaks
Not
and valleys.
huge drops, like-
Yeah, and then I'm looking at always the lowest consistent buy box price and excluding any non-consistency, right? So if it dropped to a low price for a week out of a year, that's inconsistent. I'm not considering that. I'm looking for the next consistent low buy box price to make sure that the price I'm buying it for is competitive and profitable. And then the second, I would say most important thing, Keepa charts, is that third Keepa chart with the offer count. Because if you see 1 offer, 2 offers, high indication that potentially you'll get removed from that listing.
Or you see tons of offers and it just goes down,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It must be
In
IP
one day,
complaint or
yeah.
something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, or maybe you have to be an authorized reseller
Yes.
in order to sell the specific
Yeah.
item.
We always rely on data. That's the most important thing. I would say the Keepa charts, it's a game changer. You need to understand Keepa if you really want to be successful on Amazon. We always rely on that average buy box price for the last 30 days, 90 days, 180 days. Usually, I found out the type of products that I sell them at 2.5x of my cost. So if I buy a product for $10, I'll sell it on Amazon for around $25. That's kind of like a main rule. Sometimes it's a little bit more, sometimes it's a little bit less, but I would say on average, you can sell them for 2.5 of your cost.
Over the years, we've learned through hard experience that you can slow your velocity on your sales down too much if your maxes are too high. So when we price at what the market value of the item is going to be. And so then we set a very small window. We only go up 10 to 15% for our max. We go down 5 to 10% for our min. Because you're looking for the sweet spot where the customer can get a value. Amazon likes to take care of their customer, and where you can still sell your product profitably.
go on Keepa. If you guys don't have Keepa, definitely get Keepa. It's 100% worth it. You're putting hundreds and thousands of dollars into this and actually understand what your prices are gonna be. You can look at the buy box and see, okay, the buy box is $38. And then with my repricer, I would probably try to put my min and my max like kinda hugging the buy box, kinda giving it a gap for it to work there.
How do you set your repricing up?
Basically, I wait for my items to go active. Once they're active and I see them in BQool, I see the buy box. I put my min like slightly below buy box. Depends on the item. If it's a fast item, I'd maybe try to top of the buy box because I know that I have space to do that and like I'm not worried about it selling. I kind of put my minimum max there in order to hug the buy box like that.
You gotta read Keepa graphs. So when you look at a Keepa graph for a book, especially if you're selling it in used condition, you can see how the used price ebbs and flows over time, and you can see when it actually sells. You can also see when it doesn't sell. So that gives you a good indication of what's the sort of range that you should be listing your minimum maximum price for.
That's all the advice that we got from these 11 top Amazon sellers. I hope it helped you understand how to price your products on Amazon and how to set your min and max prices. Before you go, I suggest trying the BQool Repricer. It helps you win the buy box and increases your sales and profits. It's one of the best tools out there. And now for just $25 per month, you get an AI repricer that works for you 24/7, every day, every hour, every minute. Start with a free 14-day free trial. No credit card is needed, and see the result for yourself. I'll see you in our next episode.